Good morning. Okay, so today we're going to put the binding on our star table topper. And this is the table topper. It's just a square block. And we put the points out on the edge. You can refer to the previous video and that will show you how to do that. I just did a simple stitch in the ditch around the star and then I echoed it one time. And then I went around the outside of the star and I just stitched very close to the edge all the way around before I trimmed it so that we have it stabilized and put together. Now, I've used this pink on the reverse side, and we are going to attach the binding on the reverse side and then flip it to the front and stitch it down by machine. You can do this on the front side, flip it to the back and stitch it by hand, but I just don't want to hand stitch anymore. It's just too painful for me at my age. So the first thing we're going to do, get yourself some kind of a marking device that's going to come out of your fabric. You don't want it to show, okay? A friction pen would be good. Air-soluble pen would be good. So we're going to go and we're going to line up our ruler on the 1/4 inch mark on the edge of this right here, on the edge of the outside of the star. And we're just going to draw a line right there, okay? We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to line that up and we're going to draw a line, okay? Make sure you're using a marker that will come out. We don't want to have permanent marks on our star table runner. Okay, do the same thing over here and do the same thing over here. What this is going to do is it's going to create an intersection. So when we stitch our binding, we're going to come down, we're going to stop at that point, and we're going to pivot. Okay? So you'll see in a little bit how this works. And you'll be amazed. Okay. I'm making these hopefully dark enough for you to see them. Okay. Just do all your points. And make sure you're lining that 1/4 inch up. What you want to have is you want to have that intersection right there. That's the magic point on every one of these inside corners. Don't need to worry about the outside. Okay. So we got that. Got a couple more to do here. So I hope you had a fun Halloween last night. We have some neighbors that really decorate their house up. Boy, oh boy, do they. And they're younger. And I'll have to post a video a little bit later of what they did in their yard. It was so cute. They had Michael Jackson's Thriller playing, and they were all dressed up in costume, and it was just adorable. You could tell they're really into it. Okay, now hopefully with this air marker, these are all gonna stay till I get around the sides here. Okay. Alrighty, we're there. Now, I've done a 2 1/4 inch on this. And I'm gonna start, I think I'm gonna start at one of these larger points. We're gonna go like this, and we're gonna stitch down. We're gonna watch that intersection right there. I'm gonna put a little snip in the corner to it. And a little snip all the way around, just straight in. Don't go past that corner, just go into it. I'll give you a little bit of wiggle room for what we're gonna do here. Okay. I know this looks confusing, but it'll make sense in just a little bit here. Okay. There we go. One more. Oh, that one's cut already. Okay, good. All right, we are cut and ready to roll. Okay, so start on your outside corner, and I'm gonna get rid of this little bit here because we don't need it. And leave yourself a little bit extra. You can trim it off later. And maybe I will use clips today. I don't normally use clips, so we'll see how this works out. Okay, and you only have to clip down to that one first little intersection there. Okay, we've marked that. I'm going to go ahead and mark just right on top of my binding here. Also, I could put a pin through, but that'll be easier, I think. Okay, there. I know I'm going to stitch right down. That's going to match up to my corner. And we're good to go. Okay. I've got some black thread in here, which is fine. It's not going to show. So, okay. I've got a 1/4 inch foot on my machine. I'm going to take a 1/4 inch seam here. And we're going to just stitch right down to where that intersection is. I've made the little intersection on my binding also. Okay, now we are at that intersection. And what we're going to do is we're going to leave our needle down, and we're going to take this piece of fabric and we're going to straighten it out behind the next point. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. We're going straight back. We're just taking this back piece of fabric and pulling it around. We've already made that little snip, so it's quite easy to do. Okay, now this one we're going to go up to the edge. We're going to do a 1/4. If you have a presser foot on your machine that will let you know when you've reached that 1/4 point, that's great. This is an older machine, so it doesn't have that on this presser foot. I'm videoing right now, honey. Okay, when you get to that point, you're going to lift your needle, lift your presser foot, keeping your needle down, and we're going to scoot this around here. And I like to stitch off backwards off that point, pull it out just a little bit, and you're going to make your mitered corner. Okay, so just like that, we've gone up. I should do this so you can see it. You go up, and once you've got your mitered corner, you go down, and if you just hold that in place, and you're going to get right back in there with your machine. Okay, now again, I'm going to mark again on top of my fabric, on top of my binding, and you really can't do this part ahead of time because you won't be able to know where your marks are till you sew it. Well, till you sew it, you won't know where to make the mark. Okay, so I've made another mark there on my binding. I already have my seam cut open to the mark I made before. And we're going to go right down to that point. We're going to needle down. We're going to turn our fabric to the front, pull to the back. Now you're doing this with your needle down at all times. Okay. We're just going to go right up again to the corner. We're going to mark this. right to that edge and put your needle down. And again, we're going to go off the back. Pull your thread out just a little bit. You don't need to cut it. And make your mitered corner. So go up and then fold down. And then back in we go. Okay. So on each of the inside corners, again, you're going to mark your binding just like you did your top. And we're going to mark a 1/4 inch here. And so we're going to stitch right down to that intersection there. Okay. And leaving your needle down, you're going to turn again, pull your fabric behind you, and I'm going to mark a 1/4 inch on this edge because I don't have a 1/4 inch foot. This may be going slow for some of you, and if it does, I apologize. Once you get around the first couple of corners, you should have the general idea. Okay, and then we're going to stitch off the back, but sometimes people like to see what's going on, so we're going to do that for them. Okay, so I'm stitching on my vintage Rocketeer today. My Bernina is acting up and I need to take it into the shop, but I just have not had time yet, and this machine works beautifully. Okay. Okay, and we're going to mark again because it's an inside corner. So 1/4 inch on your ruler, just make a nice big mark, and then line your 1/4 inch up again on the outside of your star, just on the outside edge there, right there. And then that's going to give you that point we're going to stitch to, okay? Okay. Bring your machine around again, your fabric, and pull it towards the back. And then again, we're going to do this. Okay. There we go. Okay. Then we're going to stitch off the back. When I'm binding a quilt, this is the exact same way I do too. I stitch to a 1/4 inch to the edge and then stitch off the back. I'm going to put this up just a little bit so it's out of my vision. I sure do like this little light on the machine though. It's nice to be able to transfer it from machine to machine. And it was funny, I was talking with my friend, Deanna. She likes to do stripes on her bindings, and she's really got me tied into stripes now. I am looking for stripe fabric all the time. It's just so dynamic on the edge of the quilt. It's a lot of fun. Okay, leave that down. Pull your fabric around behind your machine. Just straighten it out. Don't worry. It'll be fine. Okay. And once you get going there, it'll be great. All right. So we had lots of little kids come to the door yesterday, and Mr. Sister was out there. He's just having a ball. Holy mackerel. He loves the little kids when they come to the door. It was fun this year because we grew a lot of pumpkins out in our yard. we were able to let the little kids in the neighborhood come over and pick their pumpkins, and oh, they were so excited. They all went home with lots of pumpkins, and it's fun to see their little faces get excited. And our kids and our grandkids all live back in California, and so we don't get to see them as often as we'd like. I went a little too far on that before marking, but that's okay. I think we'll be okay. So just gonna get this off in this direction, and I know that I've got that right there. Okay, it's not much of an X, but I know where I'm at, so that's good. That's all that matters. Okay. Pull your fabric behind your machine. These star blocks are a lot of fun because you can make them in any size block you want. And let's see, let's go right about there. Yep. You can make them any size block you want, and they'll just work out fine. You just need to adjust your tips to be the size that you want them. And I found generally speaking, on a block that's between 8 to 12 inches, you're going to need 2 strips of your fabric when you're constructing your binding, with the fabric strips to be able to make it around your star completely. So let's make sure we mark this before we get to the edge there. Okay. Just a little bit further. There we go. Okay. We'll go to the edge again. And turn this around. Pull your fabric back behind you again. And you're going to stitch out to the edge. I'm so used to having the foot on my Bernina that automatically measures the 1/4 inch that I'm not stopping to think about it really. And I have to with this one. I saw Bonnie Hunter's newest mystery quilt. She announced that she's got the colors out, so you can start picking colors. I love her quilts. Not all of them, but I do love her quilts. And I found, for me personally, I like to take all of her clues for her mystery, and I like to print them out and save them in a binder, and then when I see the reveal, if I like the quilt, I will make it. If I don't like it, I haven't wasted fabric. And this came about because I think the first quilt of hers that I made was the Easy Street. I love that quilt. Oh, I love it. The second quilt I made of hers was the Grand Illusion, and I do not like that quilt. Don't like the colors, don't like anything about it. It's a very warm quilt. We use it on the bed when it's cold in winter, but I do not like that quilt. Okay, so we're going to stitch up to the edge here, but we're not going to stitch onto the next piece, okay? So we're going to go just right there. Okay. Okay, we are done going around that star. Hard to believe, huh? I'll just cut a little extra off here. I've made these all different sizes, little tiny ones and big ones, and they are a lot of fun, and they're so pretty on the table. Okay, so we've gone around. You can see where we've stitched all the way around the edge there. And now what you're going to do is you're just going to go ahead and turn it over, and I will press from the back first. I will press all these seams out. But then you're just going to go, and you'll notice that there's a little give in that corner where we turned the corner in on the inside there. So just go ahead and do this. Clip it with the top. When you get to your outside points where you need to miter, you're just going to go ahead and miter just like you would on your normal quilt, on a normal quilt corner. And I'll adjust these after, but I'm just kind of trying to get this clipped up so you can see the effect. There we go. Okay. Go ahead and clip all the inside ones first. I think that'll be easiest. And if you use a darker thread, you'll see where you need to bring your binding to, so you make sure you got your star covered. So this will work out beautifully. Just like that. You wouldn't think it would be that easy, would you? But it is. I remember the first time I saw it, I thought, I don't know. But it's pretty easy to do. Okay. All right, miter the corners. And for those of you that don't really know how to miter, you're going to push your fabric straight out and then pull that corner in, and it should line up. What you're going for is a nice little perfect point for that to fold over to. So like that, and then in. Okay. And I'll adjust these as I'm sewing them if needed. I'll have to change threads here because I want to have a nice top stitch thread on there. Probably use a green. See if I have some green I can match. Okay. But you can see how fast that goes together. You just have a block. You can stitch your points on in just a few minutes and then quilt it as you like. And the most fiddly thing I think about this is putting the binding on, and that's not really that difficult. So John and I went down to the hot springs in Pocatello, not Pocatello, but Lava. We went to the Lava hot springs a couple weeks ago with our friends, and oh my gosh, that was our first time down there. What a wonderful place. It made me miss our hot tub really bad. Okay, now what we're going to do with this little part here is we're going to trim off this edge because it's going to be enfolded, okay? And this I will press down, and what's going to happen is this is going to go over like this. Okay, just like that, and that. And what I will do is, I'm not going to do it right now, but I will show you. I'm going to fold this edge in and trim it and then I will fold that. Let's see here. I'm going to go in with this. I'll trim it, and then it will get folded out to a miter in the corner there. Oh, fiddly thing. So, or I could take it around the back side, which is I may do that, and just fold it over and trim it and tack it down. I think that's what I'll do. Okay, so I will show you some pictures of the finish on that one, but that's the edge. That's the edge right there. So you can kind of get a feel for what this is going to look like. I'll tuck a couple of these on here. Okay, so it'll have the binding going all around. I'm going to top stitch just right close to the edge, and you can see it's pretty on both sides. And if you use a pretty backing fabric, you can actually use it as a reverse table topper, and you'll have both sides to use. Isn't that fun? Okay, I hope that was helpful to you to see how we put the initial binding on. You can hand stitch it down, you can machine stitch it, whichever you like, okay? And I will come back and show you the finished point here probably later this afternoon, okay? Good to see you. Bye.